part of me feels like people need the shoe snob. I'm not gonna lie. I think all the time about retiring, but then I think, but there's people that count on me for information or for truth or for my transparency that they may not find elsewhere. And so I didn't stop one for that. I still decided that I needed to be that guy that had the information that people looked for. I took that seriously when I made that choice, and I didn't want to just give it up because I had reached my dreams. My dreams was to help people. It was greater than just my brand. It was to see all men wearing good shoes, but a bonus if they were wearing my shoes, but at least wearing good shoes. I know that I have beautiful shoes, and if somebody likes it, they're gonna buy it. But that doesn't mean that everybody in the world is gonna like it, and that I need to egotistically think that everybody in the world is gonna like it. It's not practical. But if they're not buying my brand, I prefer them to go buy a Carmina than go spend money on a Gucci or some other stuff that they're paying a 6-7 times profit margin just for a name. That the line of the heel flows. It's not the heel and then a straight cut. It's a fluid line that goes all the way to the bottom. And I think also helps the profile. You see the shape of the last with that fluidity.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen and friends, and welcome to this new edition of Sartorial Talks. We are continuing today our discussion with Justin Fitzpatrick, the shoe snob himself, in our house in Bourgogne, France. If you didn't watch the first part of our discussion, because to be honest, this second part is released approximately 2 weeks or a little bit more after the first part, but we just continue the talk. We just did a cut to that. It's not too long, but if you didn't watch the first part, I really invite you to watch the first part of this discussion, this talk that we have with my friend Justin, in which he's explaining his path from being a young kid, passionate about shoes, and then literally jump in the big swimming pool, crossing the ocean, going to Italy to meet Stefano Bemmer, then Tony Gaziano, Dean Gerling. If you are interested in anything about a luxury shoe, you have to listen to these stories, because it's not only about, how a young man creates a brand. It's a little bit more profound than that. It's about how, if you really love something in your life and you give yourself the tools to really make it happen, anything is possible. And I think it's a beautiful story to hear, specifically if you are a young gentleman in love with quality shoes. So now we were at the moment of the story, we were where your blog was really taking off, the Shoe Snob blog, and we're going to put, of course, all the links in the description. And then you have your samples in Spain, and then this is where we are. Yeah. So what happens next? That your dream became a reality, but the path is still not very easy, because you literally grew something from the ground up. You invented everything. So how was it at the beginning? Was it easy to sell? How did you manage to go through? And I think the blog was very instrumental in your success back in these years.
Definitely. So when I was at Gives & Hawkes, the CEO of Gives & Hawkes was a nice guy, John Durnan, who had a vision for a one-shop emporium.
Okay.
So that's why there was a shoe shine, a bespoke, the tailors, there was a hair barber, there was an antique shop, all in this one space.
I remember.
Yeah. And so I thought, this guy is nice. He brought me in. He likes me. He cares about seeing young artisans grow. So I told him, hey, I'm working on this shoe brand. Can I launch it at Gives & Hawkes? Can I have your blessing for this?
Wow.
And he said, yeah, of course, no problem. And I told him, it's not going to be forever, but I just need a place to start.
Wow.
And
to be honest, there are worse places in the world to start the first talk at
Definitely.
number 1 Savile Row.
It was tremendous opportunity.
Yes.
So I have his blessing. So I go to the factory, I place the order. The order is for 400 pairs, roughly 40,000 euros,
Yes.
or more or less. I don't recall. Around 40,000, 45.
Well, real
So-
money, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to pay in advance because I'm a new client.
Yeah.
So I took a loan from family, from my wife at the time's father,
Okay.
and he was kind enough to give me this money.
Mhm.
Paid for the shoes, and so everything's going as planned.
Yeah.
Put the orders, for 4 or 5 months production.
Okay.
3 months later, the Gives and Hawks gets bought out
By a Chinese
by a
group.
Chinese group.
Hmm.
And of course, with a buyout comes new management.
Yes. Mamma mia.
The CEO that
Yeah.
gave me his word is no longer CEO.
Mm.
And a new CEO comes in.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, let's see what happens.
Yes.
So the store manager is taking the new CEO and he's making the rounds in the shop. And he stops in front of my table and the store manager says, Ray, this is Justin Fitzpatrick, our shoe shiner, but also a young kid who's about to launch a shoe brand here at Gives and Hawks. And the guy looks at me, he's like, oh, really? He said, do the shoes have Gives and Hawks' name inside? I said, no. He said, we're not going to be selling those here.
He was a British guy?
Yeah.
Mm.
And my stomach sunk to the floor.
Yes.
I have 45,000 euros that I just borrowed in production, and in 2 months they're going to be shipped somewhere.
Yeah. But you don't know where. Because 400 pairs, it's a lot
Yeah.
of volume. Yeah.
So my stomach sunk to the floor, but I've not been. I was not a stranger to this type of adversity.
Yes.
So I thought, there's got to be a solution. I just have to sit calmly and find it.
Mm.
So I just watched this guy for the next 2 days. Because, I had this table right in the middle and I could see the entire store from my
I
view.
remember. You were
Yeah.
at the center of it. Yes.
So I just watched this guy and I said, I got to figure out what makes him move, what makes him tick.
Mhm.
And I realized he's a money guy.
Yeah.
I just need to make him an offer he can't refuse on a monetary level.
Mm.
At the same time, something dropping from the sky. When they changed powers, somebody dropped the ball in the shoe collection and they had 5 shoes. It was an embarrassment. Prior to that, they had 40 shoes.
Yes.
They had 4 black shoes and 1 tan shoe.
Wow.
It was a joke of a collection.
Mm.
I said, Gives and Hawks.
It was
number
not
one,
enough for them,
Savarol.
of course.
It was not enough.
Yeah.
It looked embarrassing. So I said, that's my in, and now I just need to convince him. So I went up to him and I said, Ray Clacker, nice guy. In the end, it all works out.
Yes.
And at the end, I still owe him.
Mm.
I said, Ray, I know you just told me no, but I'm going to propose it to you a little differently. I have a shoe collection, a collection that is going to be sought after by many people who are going to walk through these doors. You have no collection. All I'm asking you is for 1 year and space. I will give you a commission and you lose nothing and you have everything to gain because my clients can come in here and buy your suits.
That's right.
He said, okay, let me think about it. And I already knew that was a yes because a no would have been a no immediately.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
The next day he writes me, okay, I'll give you 1 year.
1 year.
1 year.
So you had
I said,
1 year
that's all I
until your
needed.
stomach came back
Yeah.
at the right place?
Yeah.
And you started like that.
I started. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
was great. And I brought lots of clients and lots of clients bought their clothes. So it was a win-win in the end.
Yes.
I don't think I even stayed 1 year because politics, the designer didn't
course.
like the fact that there were products that he didn't design.
Of course.
Silly
Well,
stuff.
Well, we can understand that,
Yeah.
actually. This is when they have a luxury group vision, and it's they don't really know the product. We know we're not going to go too far on that, but
No.
so you had 1 year, and then you had to immediately imagine the next step.
Another one. So being in a tailor place, I saw how smart it was to stay in a tailor's place because the products go hand in hand and most tailors don't have shoe collections.
Of course.
So,
And you were at the right place for tailors because Savile Row has
yeah.
100 tailor probably here. There's everywhere. Every door there's a tailor.
And just to roll back, because you made a statement about how the blog was crucial to the launch of the brand.
Yes.
When I was launching, I pre-sold the first collection, and I sold, I think, 80 pairs.
Okay.
And then I had a party to launch the brand and sold another 10 pairs on the night. So prior to the brand even existing, I sold 1/4 of my collection almost.
Okay.
So yeah, it was really starting the blog paid off for that side of it.
Of course.
And so yeah, leaving Gives and Hawks, I don't exactly recall how this all started, but I had, I was being invited to all the parties in London, and I had met Timothy Everest. And
Tim Everest. Yes, of course.
Yes, Tim
That
Everest.
comes back to my mind. It was not exactly on Savile Row. It was more on the, what was this name of this place?
He had a shop in Bruton Place,
Exactly.
just off Berkeley Square. And then he had his bespoke house in near Spitalfields Market.
Spitalfield. Exactly. I remember. It was a kind of a house, literally.
Yeah,
I got a picture
very
of myself
old house.
on this very Spitalfield place. I'm going to put it now. It's a picture from 2010, 11, I guess. I was visiting Tim Everest. Before now, he got some contract with Superdry, and is a little bit. He has another path now.
Yeah.
But back in these years, so you made a deal with Timothy Everest.
Yeah, we were at a party talking. I told him that I was looking for a place to move my brand, and he said, "You can move it with us," just
wow.
like that.
I don't remember that.
Easy verbal handshake deal.
Yeah.
And so I got out of Gives because the tension was getting high there with the other people, and they gave me what I needed, and then I went to Timothy Everest in the old house, in the bespoke house.
Yes. It's Spitalfield.
In Spitalfields. Yeah.
London. So that was, at this moment, you can a little bit like, a little bit, because you didn't have to move in the next 6 months. You had a place at least to show your production. As far as I know, during these years, our good friend Gaziano and Gerling were doing the same thing with Joe Morgan, if I remember well, on Savile Row. Is that at this some kind of yours, right?
Yeah, they were there. Funny enough, when I was on, as a way to give back to them for all their help, they were on at Joe Morgan, and I would go see clients of theirs when they needed me. I would run from Gives and Hawks to go see a client.
For them,
because then they didn't have to come to London. And I would take orders for them and everything.
Oh, okay. You are their man on Savile Row that helping.
Yeah. Because they just had the shoes on display. Joe is not a shoe salesman.
No, that's for sure.
Shoes. So, they said, "Hey, Justin, there's a guy who wants to come. Can you go attend him?" I said, "Of course."
This is
all
a nice.
they had done for me. It was my pleasure to help.
That's nice stories, because I don't know how to express that, but we always felt in this shoe, I would say, quality shoe lovers or shoe industry, even, of course, you have nicer people than others, and then you can get along better or not with people. It's just human. But at the same time, this kind of story, I have the same story, with Pierre Cortet and Stéphane Jiménez. And there's somehow, I don't want to go too far, but there's a little thing of a brotherhood somehow, which you can't really find in other trades. I can tell you in the tailoring trade, it's not exactly the same. Even if, not thanks to us, but under the impulsion of people like us, we created events where people were meeting physically. And then I know that I can't give the names, that some really important houses in Paris started to help each other behind the doors, you understand, because you're not going to advertise that. But I think that in this is a beautiful story to say, it still can happen in our world, that you can have a long-term relationship and helping each other. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, and specifically young gentlemen, never forget there's one thing is always think about paying back. And this is something that maybe is missing a little bit in our world. I don't want to go too far on that, but you understand what I wanted to say. So at this moment, it was like really the takeoff of your brand. Right? I remember it took off quite fast.
Yeah, it became... with your help as well, I had a load of loyal clientele, partially because I was doing things that I felt were very different than what everything else was on offer.
Yeah.
And I think that niche had a loyal client base, so...
That's correct.
Yeah.
But still, at this time, you decided not to stop reporting and not advertising, but speaking and promoting other brands. And that's where people say, how can that be? You know, but explain to us. So you decided not to stop advertising and helping other brands to grow.
No, you know, part of me feels like people need me, need the shoe snob. I'm not going to lie. I think all the time about retiring, but then I think, but there's people that count on me for information or for truth or for my transparency that they may not find elsewhere. And so I didn't stop one for that. I still decided that I needed to be that guy that had the information that people looked for. I took that seriously when I made that choice, and I didn't want to just give it up because I had reached my dreams. You know, my dreams was to help people. It was greater than just my brand. It was to see all men wearing good shoes, but a bonus if they were wearing my shoes, but at least wearing good shoes. Yeah. And so I don't know. I never had the idea that competition, I was never afraid of it because I just think that's in my mind, I don't want to be in this negative thought thing. I know that I have beautiful shoes, and if somebody likes it, they're going to buy it. But that doesn't mean that everybody in the world is going to like it, and that I need to egotistically think that everybody in the world is going to like it. It's not practical. But if they're not buying my brand, I prefer them to go buy a Carmina than go spend money on a Gucci or some other stuff that they're paying a 6-7 times profit margin just for a name. That's for sure. I'd rather buy the quality. Yeah. So even if in the case, the example you give, Carmina, is it pretty much in the same price range as you were and as you are? Yeah. Just a little more classic and but it's very similar. And at the same time, and this is, you know, a long-term game, is when it comes to my original line, now we have the JF line, it's a little different. We're going to be inside this in a minute. When it comes to this line, it can be flamboyant for somebody who's not used to wearing dress shoes. It can be scary. A lot of men don't have confidence to wear a black and red shoe or a spectator cream shoe. Yes. They are fearful of what people are thinking about them because they haven't stepped into one yet and gone through a day where they get 20 compliments. Yes. And that's when they click. Of course. So because of that, they're afraid to jump into that. Maybe they admire it, but they won't dare do it. So I recommend them, whoever, Crockett, Carmina, Merman, whatever, competition, something more classic, something more easy. They go into that brand. Now they're starting to understand dress shoes. Yes. They're wearing it. They say, oh, these are nice. Oh, they're starting to like menswear more. Now their fears are dropping. Their egos, not an ego, but they're being more secure in themselves. Yes, of course. Yeah. And now they look at my shoes and they think, I could do that. I could try that. Maybe I can pull off this. Maybe I can pull off this. So the first sale, I pass to my competitor or my friends because I know most of the people in these brands. Yes. But the second sale comes back. So I'm thinking long-term goal. But as long as I at least have them in the industry, that's good. Yeah. And they're not going and buying cemented, cheap fashion stuff. That is just a waste of money. That's a nice way to think. I mean, you really have to think beyond the next quarter or the next year or even the next 5 years, you know, to really have a long. This is not very fashionable in these days where everything is instant. We live in an instant world. Everything has to be right now, right there, etc. But you showed to the world that it is possible to make this happen. And on top of that, I believe, well, it's just my interpretation of that, but knowing you a little bit quite well, I can tell that you will, it's very loyal to your personality. Just, you know, you can't only do your shoes and go into a routine having this passion going on for other brands and still having your thumb on the pulse of the market and seeing some crazy good shoemakers from Vietnam, from Thailand, from around the world is still exciting. And I see you more happy doing this than only doing your own and only your shoes, even if, of course, it's the center of your life now. But I think it's because also of your personality. But I understand that people will have been orphans if the Shoe Snob will have disappeared or stopped publishing. We know what we're talking about because in Parisian Gentleman, we left the
I would say for 2-3 years our blog was a little bit unattended, but we still had a lot of visitors. And then we relaunched it like 2-3 months ago, and it's taking over very quickly again because we are the dinosaurs, my friend, of this market. So now, let's see what Justin Fitzpatrick Footwear, J. Fitzpatrick Footwear looks like in 2023. Yeah. Now you grown up, you have now you still have a bit of white hair, a little bit less than me anyway. And let's have an update. So, let's start with, so now you have two separate lines, if I understand well. You have we can say the premium line. Is that a good way to say that?
Yeah, the premium line.
And then you have an entry line. Okay, let's start with the entry line. So this is more recent, right?
Yes.
You started this 2 years ago?
Well, in 2020 it was crazy.
That's
crazy
a
story.
Wrong timing.
Yeah, because I bought 1,100 pairs and then the world locked down. And so they were coming in 2020, but then kind of like pushed it to later 2020, early 21 because we were closed, and
yes, of
there
course,
was no point to take the collection. So
this guy is a professional of taking hits. Boom, another one. He just repaired his stomach with the Given Hawks story, and then boom, another one. Well, I mean, the difference is that everybody took this one in the face.
That's true.
So anyway, tell us about this line. So this is entry line.
So the JF line, really part of the whole, are people ready to jump straight into the premium line?
Yes.
No, not everybody. So I needed just a basic line, and the being in a shop also helped me see that, because now I just get regular people walking in. They're not shoe people.
Yes.
They're just regular people who have to dress nicely.
Yeah. You're talking about your brick and mortar shop in New York City.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to put the address, of course, because I'm sorry we go very far. But eventually, Justin relocated in his country, in the USA, and quitted London, relocated in the USA, and opened a brick and mortar shop to be this window literally for the people in New York, and of course continue shipping all around the world through your website. Yeah. Did I say it well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And so this was your idea to address the people who were not in our community, let's say.
Yeah. Well, Mirman did an amazing thing by coming out with welted shoes for $200.
Yes.
And they really cornered that market. And prior to that, there was Allen Edmonds, who used to be $300. But Allen Edmonds changed. They're now in the price of my higher shoes. And Mirman was like the only person easily accessible in America at this price, prior to, global internet shipping and purchasing. Yeah. And so, I knew a lot people could easier stomach a $300 price than a $500 price.
Yes.
And classic models. So I wanted to have another line that somebody could easily get into. And again, it could be that transition into the higher line.
Of course.
And so, I just wanted to make very classic, basic models, nothing too crazy. Every now and then I do a green suede something, a blue suede. Okay.
So that's the classic
but
Oxford
classic.
JF. So give us an idea of the price of this. Is around.
So these are $345. Yeah. Unfortunately, they've all had a recent price increase due to everything that's gone up in the world.
Actually,
yeah. And they have a combination sole. Because I know a lot of guys, especially in New York, they're on their feet a lot and walking on the pavement. So it's leather with rubber built in.
Okay. And it's Blake's construction, right?
No? Still everything Goodyear.
Okay.
Yeah, but
that's great.
Open channel.
Yes.
Basic Goodyear. No beveled soles.
Yeah. Open channel is when you see the stitches under here. But that's it's a mix. It's a rubber and leather.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very easy to wear and to maintain.
Exactly. Yeah, because, with the leather sole, the beauty of leather is it looks nice, but you wear it down, you need to have more shoes. So
and this penny loafer, same line?
JF line.
So I suppose you have it in different colors. Beautiful blue. Maybe it can be your first blue suede shoes, my friends. Yeah. And same thing, same kind of price, around $300?
$325, a little bit less.
Okay. So one thing is that I know we have a lot of people from the US watching this. Okay, for them it's very easy to understand. The prices is in dollars. that you can go online and see everything, or even better, go and walk in the shop of Justin in New York. But for the people who are in Europe, everybody, I'm sorry, we're going to go into the line, but there's one question, everybody has this in mind, and this is a tremendous problem for many, many, many people now, is that shipping from the US to here, it's becoming a little bit crazy because of the custom rights. And it's the same, for example, we work with a lot of people from Singapore, for example, or from Japan. It's crazy, So as far as I know, you decided to take the bull by the horns and to open something in Europe so that people can avoid all these crazy custom costs. Is that correct?
Correct. I mean, sadly, we've not told this story yet, but when I left London and opened in New York, I lost a lot of my European clientele because of the fact that they now had to pay crazy import fees and duties and shipping, brokerage fees that the shipping companies put on. Yeah. At the end, a $500 shoe became an $800 shoe.
Yes.
And clients were upset. Naturally, I would be too. But and so, this great European base that I had that loved, the Fitzpatrick line, stopped buying. Partially why I'm here to reinvigorate that, and for the trunk show that I'm having to, reintroduce my European market. And so I had this problem, and I knew I needed to change this. So I recently opened up a Spanish company under my brand, so that we can ship directly from Spain to European households. So European shops, just like they would any other European company, paying VAT, but not being liable for any importation.
Excellent. But so far as I understand, as you restart this from scratch, it will be MTO for the time being, let's say.
Yes, so everything on the European site is to order, not MTO in the sense that not everything comes with an MTO fee.
I understand.
But that you place the order and then I need to produce the shoe. And when it's done, I ship it to you.
Okay. I can't not speak about this shoe. I already did, but it's my favorite. I have one. You saw it in my closet. It's from the years, many, many years ago. Actually, Justin, I noticed that on this new, I don't know if it's a new edition or a new model, mine doesn't have the broguing. This one has the broguing.
Correct.
But you can still have it without the brogue, or you prefer with the brogue now?
I mean, you can order it without the brogue. So the one without the brogue is called Stefano. And this one is called Stefano Redux.
Redu. Okay. I thought the original Stefano is without the brogue. Actually, the brogue works well, I must say. Okay. So now we are with this shoe in your premium line or whatever. Your premium. We can say premium line?
Premium line.
Okay. Yeah. This is all Goodyear welted?
All Goodyear welted.
Okay. And so the saddle shoe, ladies and gentlemen, well, if you're a shoe lover, if you are into this, almost this addiction to beautiful things on your feet, well, one day or another, you will be, you have to pull off this shoe, this red and black shoe, because just to be part of our family, this is, it's a tribute to Justin perseverance to really build a brand from the ground up, literally, and also a little wink to Stefano Bremer, the man, and God knows if it was important in your life. But now the Stefano Bremer company is doing quite well, and they continue the legacy. But you can have it at Stefano Bremer directly, of course, because I think they still craft this kind of shoe. But if you want to have maybe a little bit more affordable one, because I think the prices are not exactly the same as Stefano Bremer, you can have this one. So now let's show me this. So you have a range of Spectator that you brought with it. I can't reach it. You have to help me this one, okay, and maybe this one also, and the three of them. Okay, so you were talking that your idea was to do classic shoes but with a twist, and so you're right. If people are starting in the shoe, they can go to your JF line, which is more affordable and classic of classics, and then in your main line, you are a little bit more, catchy, I would say, a little bit more imaginative and creative. Okay, I'm going to describe this, and you're going to react on that. I like that. This is the three same with three different colors. Spectators, but for me, it's not only Spectators. It's more me. I would say Spectators, but this design here with this double line of brogue here, It looks to me like a 1950 kind of shoe, a little bit like, I would say, 1930, 1950 Dundee-esque shoe, a little bit, because normally a spectator, most of the time you can have him more a wingtip than a cap toe, and then this is the difference of this shoe, right? This is
Correct.
all the difference. This is why we are passionate about that. This strap of leather with the two broguing line make the whole difference, because if you have the same shoe without this strap of leather, it's not exactly the same. This is very elegant. Describe this to me. Is it something you have, is a staple in your collection, or something new?
It's from last year, spring, summer. It's a new model.
Okay.
So I'm not actually going to lie. This model was created by a customer.
Okay.
Yeah, I had always wanted one.
Okay.
But I have one customer who is very much into this 1930s to 40s look.
Yes.
And he works at Disney, and he's
At Disneyland?
he's magical with Photoshop.
Oh, wow.
So he'll find photos from shoes from that then. He'll find like old periodicals,
Yes.
and he can literally take that photo and then take my last and my colors and put it into something that looks real in Photoshop.
Oh, my gosh.
And so he loves this, and he'll order 8 colors, and his ideas are very cool. So
Yes.
this one I had always wanted to do, but I had just not gotten around to trying it. So he almost did it for me because I made the shoe for him,
Yes.
and then he had made my samples for me.
Yes, of course.
And
Okay,
so I
that's
said, I
great.
like this. I named it after him.
Yeah. So what's the name of this model?
It's called the Phillips.
The Phillips.
The Phillips.
Okay, and I like this one particularly because we did a try back in the years with TLB us to do a spectator with suede and calf, and everybody said, "Oh, why do you do this? Black on black is very strange." But at the same time, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I think it can be formal, but with a little bit of a twist in it. It's formal, but I mean, you know the rules, but you break them a little bit.
Exactly.
Is that the idea of this shoe?
Of course.
Yeah. It's a beautiful shoe. A good job. So you see the quality, no problem. Made in Almansa with under the direction of Justin. I must say that I really, really like this. Specifically, I mean, the classic one will be this one.
Yes.
Imagine this with a seersucker suit, high-waisted pants, a bowler hat, and you are in, I don't know, the late 1930s. You know, you're just strolling on the seaside, you know, with this kind of thing. Believe me, this is a beautiful pair. Of course, it's a more advanced pair. If you're starting your sartorial journey, go maybe for more classic Oxford or stuff like that. But this, specifically in this color, is very reminiscent of what we like to call in our world the golden years of men's style. This is absolutely wonderful. And this one is even more sporty. And same thing, it's a very, very nice thing. This, you can see it with a linen suit, for example. I'm sure the purists will send rotten tomatoes at me again, but even, you know, maybe invisible socks, a bit more relaxed. You can have this as like more debonair and more relaxed. It's beautiful. And this one, it's a good way to say you're in the know about black tie or about more formal onsets, but at the same time, you're also a shoe lover and you know how to put a little bit of salt or pepper in your soup, literally. Give me some more. Oh, these are boots.
So these are part of our latest autumn-winter pre-order collection. So this is a new model.
I'm going to try to describe, and you describe it. Okay. So it's not a Chelsea because there's no elastic. There's a zip here. Yeah. So same thing. I'm sorry, Justin, but it looks to me like more, I would say more 60s vibe.
Like more John Travolta Saturday Night Fever vibe.
Yes, or Mick Jagger, you know, at the beginning in the 60s. He would wear this kind. How do you call this?
I just call it a side zip boot.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people might call it a YSL boot because they kind of popularized it back in those times.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously with a much higher heel.
Yes.
But
it's and the heel is a little bit inclined, right?
Yeah. So we put what we call a pitched heel, not to be confused with a Cuban heel, which is a lot higher and more angled.
Yeah, Cuban is more extreme than that.
Yes. We call it a pitched heel, which for me is reminiscent when you're making bespoke shoes, so that the line of the heel flows. It's not the heel and then a straight cut. It's a fluid line that goes all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think also helps the profile. You see the shape of the last with that fluidity. And so we've now added that to all of our premium line shoes.
Yeah. I noticed something, or maybe it's because we didn't see each other since a long time, but I think it's maybe also because now you have the entry line more classic, but I feel that you progressed even with your premium line there. It's only shoes with kind of a personality, strong personality.
Yeah.
This is it looks like an easy shoe to wear, but when you look at that, you're really in the 50s, 60s, and it carries something really different, you know. And congratulations! I really like those two models.
Thank you.
And well, this is very easy to wear. This kind of thing, you can basically be business. You can be a little bit more relaxed with that, and it's beautifully done. The quality of the sole. I like the pegs on the top because I'm always fighting with that. You know, I'm part of these people who are walking on their toe, and I destroy here.
It's coming out,
I don't destroy there. I destroy here.
Exactly.
And it's always a mess when you have to add an iron. You have to find the right cord veinner, blah blah blah. So that you do this regularly to put the wood.
They're all on all the shoes.
Pegs. Yeah. Is it brass? Something brass pegs?
Yeah, brass plated nails.
Yeah, okay. That's very, very, very handy. Okay, it's a small detail, ladies and gentlemen, but it can change everything. And give me the Balmoral. It's still from the spring-summer collection.
No, this is just a made-to-order model. So just to show you, you know, different types of designs that we have available in the two-tone and the different materials and whatnot. So this is just one of our many models.
Yeah, because you have many models.
A lot.
Too many to put on my table for sure.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, a little bit of education because we are with the shoe snob himself. There's a misconception specifically in the US. I see people talking about Balmoral when they want to talk about Oxfords. And well, a Balmoral can be an Oxford, but a Balmoral is not related to a shape of a shoe. It's related to this line that goes all the way to the back of the shoe. This is a Balmoral stitching line. And this one is called a Balmoral boot.
Correct.
Right? And well, I don't know which one's going to be broadcasted before the other, but we did a 6-episode series on the semantics about shoes. Because people, they don't know how to name things. They don't know. They are lost between the wingtip and the cap toe and you know, a medallion and this Balmoral. I saw so many shoemakers, even professional ones, who say, "Oh, I want a pair of Balmorals," but they sell an Oxford. This is not exactly so. It is a real Balmoral shoe. So, in a nutshell, my dear Justin, beautiful shoes, of course. Specifically, this one is my favorite here. And I must admit, I'm not a boot guy, but this makes me think of something like, I would think of myself like a rock star in the 1960s, you know, having parties on Carnaby Street.
I could definitely see you in this.
Yeah, you see, I got the right hair for wearing this.
Exactly.
The right hair and the white, in my case, to do that. So, in a nutshell, JF line around 300, 350, something like that.
Between 325 and 385
Okay.
for the boots, and then
the premium line between
495 and 625.
625. Around, let's say, an average of $550, something like that, depending on the shape. And then on top of that, you offer MTO, of course.
Correct.
Yeah, and then you have to add a fee for MTO. How much?
Yeah, so the fee for low shoes is $150 on top of the retail price, and the fee for boots is $175 on top of the retail price.
Okay. Are you happy with your last collection? Do you still have the fire?
Yes, I mean...
It's a very interesting question, because I can see you have the fire.
Yeah.
Because, hey, this guy, we know each other since a long time, so he didn't bring any kind of shoe just randomly. He brought something with a strong personality to show that he's still creative on that. But so you still have this same fire than years ago?
Yeah, my only limitation is money. If I had infinite money, I would come up with crazy models every season. But I have to do now. As I get older, I'm trying to do a balance between fire and practicality. So a little bit of both for every season.
Of course.
So even in the JF line, I want it classic, but I will do a gray suede tassel loafer.
Yes.
That's not
yes.
necessarily for your average person, but
No.
I still want to give a little something. So this, it looks like a basic boot, but it's not.
No, absolutely
and so
not.
that's the thing is, I'm always trying to sprinkle a little pepper, like you say, and do things that show that I'm thinking hard about what I do, but also trying to make it appeal, not just being crazy.
Of course. It's not a regular boot at all. Specifically, this line of, you brought me back to this, but this line of stitching here make the whole personality of this boot. And of course, the zip inside. This is, because normally what is selling very easily in this type of boot is the Chelsea one with the elastic that I call it the lazy one.
Yeah.
You just put your hands on it and that. But this is a little bit more stronger personality. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Justin is at home. Is reopening, is reintroducing his brand to Europe now. Please take note of that. Now you can order on the website. You have to be patient a little bit. You can order any of these shoes, and they're going to be sent directly to you from Spain now, because Justin has been taking the bull by the horn, not the bull by the horn. This is so French. The bull by the horns, and he traveled to Spain to open a company there so that you can have access to all these beautiful products without being bullied by all these taxes and custom rights and that. It's crazy. It really gets super high. I think after COVID, there was a phenomenon, right?
After COVID,
COVID and
very
Brexit,
strict,
let's say.
yes.
COVID and Brexit combined make it extremely difficult to make commerce abroad.
Yeah.
So, of course, the website, jfitzpatrick.com. We're going to put all the link. And of course, the Shoe Snob blog. You want to add something?
J Fitzpatrick Footwear.
J Fitzpatrick Footwear. Sorry,
.com.
brand. Creating a brand, you need to be very precise. J Fitzpatrick Footwear. We're going to put all the links, all the names, and everything so that you can discover. If you know Justin, of course, you know that you are in safe hands, if I may say, but and your feet will be safe also, and also the Shoe Snob blog. Which is one of the biggest resources on earth for if you want to know everything about shoemaking and have transparent and very honest report on many. I don't know how you have an idea of how many brands you've been reporting on the Shoe Snob blog. You have no idea.
Hundreds.
Yeah. Hundreds from the most famous to the most obscure.
Yeah.
Yes, so you sometimes you've been writing on brands who are more than obscure, right?
Yeah, especially in the beginning, there was a lot of obscure Japanese makers that have disappeared. And
yes,
I don't know. I don't even know how I stumbled across them, but
I remember.
Many.
And I was a reader of you at the beginning, and I was like, how can this guy can throw this thing in very obscure guys, even sometimes in obscure countries that were not very well known to make shoes. But anyway, one last thing I want to tell Justin, he may not be aware of that, but I want to uplift him at the end of this show, is that recently Business of Fashion released a survey, a study. These are very professional people. They study the market and they do extensive surveys on clientele. And maybe it's because the sneaker industry is going a little bit more towards leather sneakers, more and more. They are forecasting that in the next 5-6 years, the leather shoes will be bigger in volumes than the non-leather shoes worldwide. Well, to be honest, when we read this with Sonia, we said, no, the guy, he'd been drinking too much Chablis when he did his article, or maybe he misunderstood the thing. But no, it is real. Yeah. And all the shoemakers understand that, because I was afraid that the sneaker will take over everything, and then we were going to go to Nike and Reebok, and then we understand that it's more the reverse. That is, the sneaker took the sartorial taste. Let's say you do the same, right? You have leather sneakers. I'm sorry, we forgot to say.
I forgot to bring them as well. Yeah, but I have a sneaker range.
Yeah, which is in leather, of course. Yeah, and this is something that is a good breath of fresh air for us, ladies and gentlemen. This is why don't be too hard on people who are wearing sneakers. because today it's been, I would say, the possibility for many shoemakers to survive, to distribute high-level sneakers, and now more and more, I think that the people, we want you to taste leather on your foot, and then when you taste leather, even if you go through a sneaker first, then maybe then you will need to buy a beautiful Oxford like that to receive compliments from beautiful women in the street, and then at one moment you can jump in the big swimming pool, the big sartorial swimming pool, and go to this kind of marvel. Thank you, my friend, for your visit. Always a pleasure to have you here. I'm going to kiss him, but we can't do it now on the camera. And then, no, in France, we kiss. We kiss, okay. And my wife, she said, "Oh, don't say this because American, we're gonna hug." Is that okay like that? Okay, it was a pleasure to have you. And ladies and gentlemen, we give you an appointment to the next episode of Sartorial Talks. In the meantime, try leather shoes, dress well, and take care of others. Bye-bye, my friends. Bye-bye.